Hi guys, welcome along, and also welcome to my lovely son Jordan, who's learning guitar. This lesson is part one of 3 parts. Part 1 is going to be just basic major chords. Part 2, we're going to go through major bar chords and all the different shapes, working from the nut down to fret 14 of the guitar. And part 3, we're going to look through scales, modes and major scales. And then of course we can then attack minors and sevenths and all the chords that run after that in different parts. But this first part, major chords. So let's get underway. Now, a quick theory: a major chord is 3 or more notes, and those notes are made up of a first, a third and a fifth of a major scale, which is 1, 3, 5. So any major scale that you play on the guitar, if you take the first note, the third note and the fifth note, you have the 3 triad, or the 3 main notes that would make up a major chord from there. So we'll look at that, of course, when we get into scales and so forth. So let's just punch into all the major chords. Now, the natural major chords have no sharp or flat chords. So there's no sharps or flats in this at all. We'll cover that in part 2 with the bar chords. This is just the major chords of the natural notes of A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Now, B and F are always the sticking point when people first start learning guitar. They can get A, they can get C, D, E, and they can get G, and they have no problems. But the B and the F are the chords that introduce the new player to the bar chord. So the position, when first learning it, becomes quite difficult. But let's have a look at different ways of doing it today. All right, straight in, we have the A major chord, open position. Okay, we start with the A string, not the E string, just the A string. Now we need an A, so we'll talk through the notes. We need an A, we need an E, we need an A, and we need a C sharp, and we need an E on the bottom, just like that. So if we put them together, what we do is we take the first finger, the second finger and the third finger, and we put the first finger on the E note, that's the 2nd fret of the D string. We've got the A note, which is the 2nd fret of the A string. We've got the C sharp note, which is the 2nd fret of the B string. So now we just can strum through those with a pick or your thumb or with your fingers here, and we're going to just strum down to the bottom. Now we could pick through those notes very easily just by going A string, B string, G string, B string, G string, B string, and A string. Like so. Or just strum straight through. This chord's quite difficult because all the fingers are bunched up together in a tight formation within that 2nd fret. So, of course, we can manage playing it, but it is a difficult chord to play using that position. Most guitar players, professional players and guitar players that have been playing for a while, cancel this position and go to the bar position, which is the first finger from the E string. So you put your finger on the E string, then you lay your finger flat and clamp it straight on the back of the guitar. So I'm now going to play the A, the D, the A and the C sharp, but I'm only using one finger to press on those strings, leaving that A string open. You can see there. The only problem with this type of chord is the bottom string is sacrificed because we're barring straight over it. Very hard to get it to ring underneath that finger. You may be able to, but it's quite difficult. So we just worry about the A, the E, the A and the C sharp notes. And the A chord is done. A major. Okay, very good. Now, changing that chord up to the B is where we encounter our first bar chord. Now, an interesting way of playing this chord would be to do it, firstly, a hard way, and then secondly, of course, our easy way. So, firstly, let's have a look at the notes. We need to have our finger here on the first note from here. We'll start from the top, from the bottom string. E, we need the B note here, which is the tonic note. We need this note here, which is the F sharp. We need this note here, which is a B again. We need this note here, which is an E flat. And then we need this note here, which is an F sharp here. So we've got F sharp, E flat, B, F sharp, and B. Now, we start by building it from the bottom here. First finger, second fret, just on that F sharp note. Now, we can take our fourth finger, the little finger, and we stick it on the E flat. So we've got those two notes. Now, straight above it, place the third finger. And we have a very short B major chord there, right there. 3-note B major chord. Now we can keep building and put that note on the top here. So you see this note here is the F sharp. Now you see that's looking a little bit like they're crammed together like we did in the A position. But we're on the 4th fret. Very difficult to do because of the cramming of the notes into the 1 fret. Okay, and then we've got to try and get that B note on top there, which that's where the difficulty is. But we can make it much easier for ourselves if we just apply this principle here. We start with this finger here, so the third finger on the 4th fret of the D string, an F sharp note, and then just lay the finger down and clamp it. So you practice pushing on the frets the F sharp, the B, and the E flat. So get that to work first, with nothing else on there. Now this finger here wants to go on the 2nd fret of the A string here. So you can hear it won't work if it's not there. And as soon as I place that, there is the B chord. It's this stretch and the pressure that you need to apply to make the string sound, which is the practice. Just keep practicing it. Alright, so that is the B chord with a bar, our first bar chord, B major. Okay, next one, pretty easy. C. No E string, leave it out. C note, E note, G note, C note, and an E note. So we strum through, or pick through. C major. The next chord after that is D. Down to the bottom 4 strings. No A string or E string in this one. Just the D string. So we play the D string, then an A note, then a D note, and then an F sharp note. And they call it triangle chords because it goes there, there, and there, like 3 points. Here, first finger, A note, second finger on the F sharp note, third finger on the D note. Starting from the D string, strum through or just pluck through with the fingers. Thumb, 1, 2, 3. The D major chord. Up to E, all strings being played on this one. All strings. E, A, D, G, B, and E. Okay, now, first finger, we start the tracing finger, or the first finger you put on, is the G sharp note here, which is the A flat here. Right there. First fret, third string. Here we go. We need that note. Now the second finger has to go all the way up to the B note. Second fret, A string, B note. Okay, the A string's there. No frets, 1 fret, 2 fret. So, and then the third finger goes underneath on that E note, there on the 2nd fret. So we got E, B, E, G sharp or A flat, B and E. Putting them all together gives us a E major chord. When picking it, hit the bass note, leave the A string and come down onto the E. way of picking it there, so you get the chord with a nice bass note there. Okay, let's move on now. The second of our bar chords, which we introduce us here. The second of the bar chords is an interesting one because you can play it. It has different phases that you can play it in. Let's look at the first phase, which is called a short F chord. We need the F note, the C note, and the A note, and you put those together by barring the two bottom strings like a little two notes together. Later on, this is called a double stop. Okay, now we then add the A note on top there, and then play the bottom three strings only. So we've got A, C, and F. And that's a triad of all the three notes needed for an F chord. But we can add another F as we get better, or as we get better at playing the chord. It feels more easy to you. You can add in that F note right there. That's the third fret of the D string, the F note. Now, as you improve, a lot of people will add in this C note here too. So I've got fourth finger on the F, third finger on the C, second finger on the A, and barring across the C and the F on the bottom, and playing just 5 strings. Now the next step up to the final step of the chord is the full string, where we actually have to bar see that finger there? Nothing moved at the front here, just a finger at the back moves across, hitting that F note on the top here, and the F note on the bottom. So we've got that note, and that note. 3 notes being played by the back chord there. Now the front chord is what we put on here. We've got the fourth finger here from here, so we've got that on the F note. Then the third finger on the C, and the second finger on the A. A full F chord. The interesting thing about this is that if I remove that and then slide it back without changing anything of this shape to there, I'm now playing the E chord again. So we've got E chord, slide up 1 fret, which is a semitone. No good to sound like that because I've got an E string and a B string and an E string ringing against it, which sounds a bit funny, a bit Spanish. We now need to bar across, and there's our F chord. Let's move on to the last of our chords, the G chord. Okay, starting on the G chord, it's again a full 6-string chord with second finger on the G note, third fret on the E6. Then come down to the B note, which is the second fret of the A string or A5. Then down to then we're going to be playing the D, the G, and the B, and then putting our third finger on the G note, which is on the E first, third fret, G note. And we come across, so we go G, B, D, G, B, and G. Okay, so let's have a look at the major chords one at a time, and we'll talk through them as we go to finish up on part 1. Remember, catch me on part 2 because we're going to go into intermediate to advanced bar chords. Here we have A major, B major, C major, D major, E major, and G major. And that finishes our chords. Of course, I'm sorry I left out the F chord. So let's run through them again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, and that finishes up our major chords, or the open position major chords. And I'll catch you on part 2 on our bar chords, and we're going to be playing all our different shapes, so intermediate to advanced players, and we're going to look through the intermediate shapes of all the bar chords running from the nut down to fret 14. So I'll see you then. Thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you. Bye.